Chosen one, before a single word settles into your spirit, understand something. The universe has been whispering your name. Forces beyond human comprehension have been circling your life like guardian sentinels. And right now, in this exact moment, a revelation is hurtling toward you at supernatural speed. Somebody is about to break ranks. Somebody is about to crack under spiritual pressure. Somebody connected to schemes made against you is about to spill everything, either directly to you or straight to the authorities. This information will arrive through your phone, through an unexpected conversation, through channels you never anticipated. What gets revealed will confirm every instinct that kept you awake at 3 in the morning, every gut feeling you dismissed as paranoia, every strange sensation that something was deeply wrong. All of it was accurate. All of it was divine intelligence feeding you survival data. Picture a spider web stretched across darkness, invisible until light hits the silk. That web of conspiracy has surrounded your life. But now the light is coming, and every thread becomes visible. Every connection gets exposed. Every hidden agenda stands naked before truth. The energy around you has been shifting for weeks. Maybe you felt it, a strange electricity in your chest whenever certain names came up, a tightness in your throat during family conversations, an unexplainable urge to check your surroundings, to watch your back, to question invitations that seemed innocent on the surface. That was not anxiety, that was divine programming, activating your survival instincts. That was heaven's alarm system, doing exactly what it was designed to do, keeping you alive, keeping you breathing, keeping you here to claim what belongs to you, because chosen one, there is something that belongs to you, something substantial, something that could change everything, and certain people decided you should not be alive to receive it. Let that sink in for a moment. Blood relatives looked at the value attached to your name and did a calculation. They weighed your life against financial gain, and in their twisted arithmetic, money won. Greed eclipsed every birthday party, every holiday dinner, every shared memory. Somewhere in secret conversations, your elimination became a business decision, a problem requiring solution, an obstacle needing removal. The inheritance your grandparents left behind was never supposed to reach you according to their plan. Property that appreciated beyond imagination. Accounts that accumulated quietly. Assets that would fundamentally transform your financial reality, all of it bearing your name in legal documents, all of it designated specifically for you by people who loved you and saw something special in your spirit. But family members who smiled at gatherings were meeting in shadows, analyzing logistics, establishing timelines, dividing responsibilities. This was not vague wishing or passive resentment. This was organized, calculated, premeditated. This was conspiracy, wearing the mask of blood loyalty. Remember those invitations that never felt right? Someone pushing hard for you to take a specific trip, pressure to visit a particular location, enthusiasm about getting you away from familiar territory. That was not family connection they sought. That was isolation they required. Extraction from your environment, positioning where disappearance could be explained, where accidents could happen without witnesses who knew you well, when you kept declining, when excuses kept forming on your tongue, when something inside you simply refused to agree, no matter how much guilt got applied. That was divine intervention operating as your personal protection system. Angelic interference disguised as scheduling conflicts, supernatural navigation wearing the clothes of ordinary hesitation. Heaven itself was steering you away from traps set by your own bloodline. Some of them attempted to poison what you consumed, food prepared with intentions that had nothing to do with nourishment, drinks offered with smiles hiding sinister purpose. When your spirit recoiled, when your appetite vanished around certain people, when something made you push away plates without logical explanation, that was discernment functioning at cellular level, your body receiving instructions from dimensions they cannot access. Every refusal they interpreted as rudeness was actually survival. Every declined invitation that frustrated them was divine protection activating. Every time you chose differently than they expected, angels were redirecting your steps away from destruction. Others took darker routes. They consulted practitioners who specialize in shadows. They paid significant amounts for spiritual warfare aimed at your destruction. This went beyond amateur attempts and dollar store candles. These people sought specialists with established reputations for removing obstacles. Some traveled distances to access stronger magic. Some invested amounts that reveal the depth of their desperation. Your death became a line item in their budget. Your elimination became an investment they tracked like stocks, all because something visible to spiritual sight exists within you. Something that makes your light register, even to people who lack vocabulary to describe what they perceive. Something that marks you as dangerous to their darkness simply by existing in your truth. Instead of celebrating someone remarkable in their bloodline, instead of supporting someone gifted, instead of honoring someone carrying divine assignment, they chose elimination. Your excellence signed your death warrant in their minds. The very gifts that should have made you treasured, made you threatening. The very light that should have drawn protection, drew targets on your back. In families practicing darkness, genuine light becomes unwelcome. In bloodlines committed to generational curses, someone breaking free represents an existential threat. In households serving entities that feed on limitation, your freedom looked like rebellion deserving punishment. Some of you listening to this come from families connected to organizations that regular society does not acknowledge. Secret practices passed through generations, initiations expected of every family member, traditions of darkness masquerading as cultural heritage. Perhaps you were supposed to continue the legacy. Perhaps they assumed you would embrace what felt fundamentally wrong to your spirit when your soul said no. When something deep in your being rejected immersion in their ways, that rejection made you enemy rather than family. That choice to walk a different path transformed you from loved one to target. The death spirit they summoned has turned with fury they never anticipated. People are dying in their circle, not elderly relatives whose time arrived naturally. Healthy people, younger people, lives ending under circumstances that baffle medical professionals, mysterious illnesses with no clear diagnosis, sudden accidents defying logical explanation, situations that make doctors shake their heads after extensive testing reveals nothing. Everyone involved knows why this is happening. Everyone connected to the conspiracy against you watches this destruction and understands magic returns to its source. Curses reverse to their senders. Spiritual weapons meant for you now consume those who aimed them. Someone central to planning your removal now lives in their final days. Health is failing in ways medicine cannot address. Mental clarity evaporates daily. Voices and visions torment constantly. Sleep brings no rest. Waking brings no peace. The very entities meant for you now feast on the one who summoned them. Possession is not metaphorical here. Literal consumption by demonic forces is occurring. Watching this deterioration terrifies everyone else involved because the obvious question hangs in every room they enter. Who will be next? When does this death energy finish with its current victim and move to the next conspirator? The person who coordinated significant portions of this conspiracy has fundamentally broken. Something essential shattered inside that cannot be repaired by human means. Desperation now drives every decision. Panic shapes every choice. Confession seems like possible salvation. Maybe coming clean offers escape. Maybe warning you provides protection. Maybe apologizing stops what is chasing them through every night and haunting every daylight hour. But spiritual law does not operate on their preferred terms. This is not a negotiation. This is not a court accepting plea bargains. The price stands fixed by forces beyond manipulation. Judgment moves forward regardless of regret. Karma manifests independent of apology. The unity that existed during planning has completely shattered. Accusations fly constantly between former conspirators. Blame gets assigned and reassigned in frantic circular conversations. Whose idea went too far? Who should have known better? Who brought this catastrophic karma into formerly comfortable lives? Fighting erupts regularly. Where cooperation once flowed, trust no longer exists between people who trusted each other enough to plan murder together. While chaos reigns among them, mistakes accumulate, evidence gets created in careless moments, contradictions appear in stories they struggle to keep straight, trails emerge that lead directly to provable guilt, texts sent in anger that should never have been typed, emails forwarded in desperation that document everything, payments made through traceable channels, conversations overheard by people they forgot were present. The web they wove is strangling them while you stand free. The trap they built has snapped shut on their own limbs while you walk in open fields. Everything designed to destroy you is systematically destroying them instead. Confession is coming, and when it arrives, understand the motivation driving it. This is not conscience awakening. This is terror seeking any possible escape route. Family members have deteriorated before their eyes. Backfire has consumed people previously thought untouchable. Witnessing has made remaining conspirators realize this transcends bad luck. This represents spiritual warfare consequences manifesting in physical reality with precision that cannot be denied. When contact comes, testing waters happens first. Immediate confession seems too risky. Questions about your well-being will arrive, mention of thinking about you lately, statement that something important needs discussion. Gauging your openness becomes the priority. Manipulation precedes truth. Tears might flow. Claims of not doing well might surface. Mentions of family difficulties might get shared. Stage setting happens before truth dropping because creating sympathy before confession makes psychological sense to someone who understands the magnitude of what gets revealed. Once these words leave their mouth, no taking back becomes possible. No pretending it did not happen works anymore. No returning to any version of normal exists. Minimization will likely occur initially. Calling it a mistake sounds better than conspiracy. Saying things got out of hand feels softer than admitting premeditated murder plot. Language that reduces intentionality will probably appear first. Do not accept the softened version as complete truth. Push for details. Ask direct questions. Demand specific naming of who participated. Request concrete actions taken against you. Full truth matters for your healing and potentially for legal proceedings. Some of what you hear will sound fictional. Your mind will resist believing people you shared meals with discussed your death. Your heart will want to reject that blood relatives valued money over your existence. Believe the confession when it comes. Believe every word spoken. People do not invent stories this dark about themselves unless truth compels revelation. People do not create confessions making themselves look evil unless actual evil occurred. Law enforcement might already know your name in connection with this situation before confession reaches you. When people practice dark magic for sinister purposes, when conspiracy to harm takes shape, when fraud around estates occurs, sloppiness in other life areas often follows. Mistakes get made, trails get left, people talk to other people who talk to additional people. Information flows in directions conspirators never intended. An informant you do not know about might exist, someone adjacent to planning but not fully involved, someone who overheard enough to feel uncomfortable, someone who recognized criminal activity when they encountered it. That person might have already spoken to authorities. That person might have provided information initiating investigation. That person might be why police are circling before confession happens. Financial records could have triggered scrutiny independently. Unusual transactions raise flags automatically. Large cash withdrawals spark questions from institutions trained to notice. Payments to people in distant locations create curiosity. Money moving in patterns that do not match legitimate family behavior gets noticed. When you pay practitioners for dark work, when you hire surveillance, when you fund conspiracy, money originates somewhere traceable. Financial institutions notice anomalies. Suspicious activity gets reported. Potential crimes get flagged through systems designed exactly for this purpose. The inheritance itself might have triggered examination. Estate fraud carries serious legal weight. When someone designated to inherit suddenly faces obstacles, when documents change without proper process, when beneficiaries shift through unofficial channels, red flags wave in offices of people whose job is catching exactly this kind of crime. Confession might represent someone attempting to get ahead of arrest. Knowledge that charges are pending might drive contact. Previous interaction with investigators might have occurred already. Securing your sympathy or silence before law enforcement arrives at your door might be the strategy. Framing this as family matter rather than criminal conspiracy might be the goal. Appealing to your sense of privacy or loyalty might be the hope that keeps you from cooperating fully with police. Do not fall into that trap. When law enforcement contacts you, full cooperation serves your highest good. Every detail you remember about strange interactions matters. Every weird invitation carries significance. Every time someone in your family made you uncomfortable adds to the picture. Every instance where intuition screamed danger contributes to the case. Every conversation that felt wrong builds the pattern. All of it establishes intent. All of it demonstrates conspiracy. All of it helps secure justice. This inheritance exceeds a small amount requiring simple division. This transcends a single house needing sale and distribution. This represents generational wealth, the kind of assets that alter family trees permanently, resources that would allow completely different life circumstances than anything you previously experienced. Your grandparents accumulated this through sustained effort and wise choices. Perhaps inheritance from previous generations contributed. Perhaps property purchases appreciated enormously over decades. Perhaps business ventures became more valuable than projections ever suggested. However, accumulation happened, something substantial got created, and specific decisions about distribution got made. Your name appears in legal documents for specific reasons. Designation as primary beneficiary happened with intention. Your grandparents wanted you specifically to receive these resources. Perhaps something special in you got recognized that others missed. Perhaps your gifts got acknowledged. Perhaps wisdom in you suggested proper stewardship where others would squander. Perhaps honoring their legacy seemed more likely through you than through any other option. Family members who wanted assets for themselves did not care about intentions behind distribution. Your grandparents' wishes held no weight in their calculations. Honoring the deceased meant nothing compared to obtaining assets they felt entitled to receive. When legal structure did not favor their access, when your existence blocked their windfall, when calculation showed your death would reroute inheritance their direction, their choice got made. Some have been stealing already, items disappearing from property before proper inventory, selling things that should remain in estate pool, funneling money from accounts they access, creating fake debts that reduce estate value. All of this constitutes fraud. All of this remains prosecutable. All of this will face exposure in the light, now flooding their darkness. This experience has transformed you into someone far more powerful than before. Consider who you were when this began, someone with gifts and potential. Consider who you are now, someone with gifts, potential, and proven resilience. Someone who knows without doubt that protection surrounds you. Someone who trusts intuition completely, because proof arrived that your inner knowing reads situations with deadly accuracy. Someone who recognizes spiritual warfare during occurrence rather than in hindsight. Someone who can guide others through similar battles because you emerged victorious from your own. Every skill gained through this season stays permanent. Every ability developed remains yours forever. These gifts serve you for your entire remaining life. Boundaries get set like steel walls now. Second-guessing decisions to distance from wrong-feeling people does not happen anymore. Guilt for protecting your peace does not arise. Apologizing for choosing well-being over others' feelings seems absurd from your current vantage point. Understanding that self-preservation holds sacred quality has become fundamental to how you operate. Knowledge that protecting your energy qualifies as righteous action is unshakable. Recognition that some people do not deserve access to you is crystal clear. Enforcement of those boundaries happens without hesitation or explanation required. Authority that shifts atmospheres walks with you now. When you enter spaces, energy changes noticeably. When you speak, listening happens at different depth. When you declare something, weight accompanies your words. This is not arrogance requiring correction. This represents earned spiritual authority. This reflects power developed through battle. This demonstrates strength forged in warfare that would have destroyed lesser spirits. Text messages exist somewhere that document everything. Even deleted ones can get recovered by forensic specialists trained for exactly this purpose. Conversations about you, discussions of plans, coordination between conspirators, all of it lives on servers, all of it can face subpoena, all of it can get used in court. People text things they would never say aloud. People type things they would never write in letters. People create permanent records of temporary thoughts that become permanent evidence. Emails probably exist as well. People coordinating travel for magical purposes. People arranging payments to practitioners. People sharing information about your schedule and location. People forwarding messages between conspirators. Email trails become prosecutor gold when cases get built. Timeline gets established through timestamps. Coordination gets proven through threads. Intent gets demonstrated through language, chosen in moments when guard was down. Financial records tell complete stories when investigators know how to read them. Bank statements show when money moved and where it went. Credit card statements reveal purchases supporting conspiracy theories. Cash withdrawals at unusual times in unusual amounts raise questions that demand answers. Payments to people in locations known for dark practices create connections that cannot be explained away. Money always leaves traces regardless of how careful people think they are being. Practitioners themselves represent potential evidence sources. People who got paid to do dark work keep records of their own. Some document who hired them and for what purpose. Some take photos of rituals performed. Some maintain client lists. When law enforcement investigates, when subpoenas fly, when pressure gets applied, some practitioners cooperate. Some provide evidence for immunity or reduced charges. Some give up clients to save themselves. Loyalty means nothing when prison looms. When law enforcement arrives at your door, when badges get shown and introductions get made, when you get asked if you have time to answer some questions, that moment will feel surreal. Part of you might still struggle to believe this is actually happening. Part of you might want to laugh at the absurdity of police investigating your family for conspiracy to murder you. Part of you might feel vindicated that external authority confirms what you knew internally. Listen carefully to everything investigators tell you. Take notes if possible. Ask for clarification on anything you do not fully understand. This information belongs to you. This is your life that was targeted. This is your safety that was threatened. Understanding exactly what evidence exists and who faces investigation and what charges are being considered and what timeline unfolds helps you navigate what comes next. Be completely honest with investigators. Tell them about every strange interaction. Describe every weird invitation that did not feel right. Explain every time your intuition screamed danger around certain family members. Mention food or drinks you refused for reasons you could not articulate at the time. Detail any dreams or premonitions that seemed to warn you. Share anything you observed that seemed off even if you dismissed it when it happened. Every single piece of information helps investigators build complete picture. Do not minimize what happened to protect family members who do not deserve protection. Do not downplay conspiracy to murder because they are related to you by blood. Do not soften your statements because you feel guilty about sending relatives to prison. Those people felt no guilt about sending you to your grave. Those people felt no remorse about stealing your inheritance. Those people felt no hesitation about using dark magic to destroy you. Protection is not something you owe them. Loyalty is not something you owe them. Silence is not something you owe them. Mercy is not something you owe them. Investigators might tell you things that shock you even after confession comes, additional conspirators you did not know about, methods attempted that never got mentioned, close calls you never realized happened, surveillance you never detected. The full scope of what you survived might exceed even your worst suspicions. Let that information settle, process it at your own pace, seek professional support if needed. This level of betrayal requires serious emotional processing that takes time and cannot be rushed. Understanding what happens legally to those who conspired matters, because justice operates in both spiritual and physical realms. Conspiracy to commit murder carries severe prison sentences, even though the actual murder never occurred. Even though you stand here alive and thriving, the conspiracy itself constitutes the crime. Planning represents the crime. Coordination represents the crime. Intent represents the crime. Intent represents the crime. Intent represents the crime. In cases involving multiple people conspiring together, everyone involved faces charges, even if participation in the most serious acts never happened directly. The fraud charges stack additional time onto sentences: inheritance fraud, estate fraud, identity fraud. If documents got forged, each separate fraudulent act becomes a separate charge. Each false document transforms into another count. Each lie told to officials becomes another crime. Charges accumulate rapidly. Potential sentences multiply exponentially. The reality of how much prison time looms becomes overwhelming to those facing it. Some will take plea deals. Testimony against others in exchange for reduced sentences becomes attractive when facing potential life imprisonment. Detailed accounts of who did what will get provided. Evidence prosecutors already possess will get confirmed. New information prosecutors did not know about will get revealed. Self-preservation wins over loyalty to co-conspirators every time when decades behind bars hang in the balance. Trials will devastate those who chose murder over morality if cases go that far instead of plea arrangements. Evidence presented in open court, witnesses testifying under oath, their own words read back to them from text messages and emails, their actions detailed publicly for everyone to hear, their intentions examined and exposed in brutal detail before juries hearing everything about what was planned and attempted. Judges determining fate based on facts that cannot be disputed. At the end of proceedings, guilty verdicts, sentencing hearings, years or potentially decades in prison. Lives completely destroyed by choices made in greed and darkness. The same greed and darkness they aimed at you now consumes their futures entirely. The inheritance flows completely to you now. No sharing with people who tried to kill you. No splitting assets with conspirators who forfeited any moral claim through their actions. No guilt about taking what others wanted. Everything belongs to you. Every piece of property, every account, every investment, every item of value. All of it comes to you because you represent the rightful heir and you live to claim what is yours. The amount exceeds original intentions because splitting with people who just lost inheritance rights through committing crimes against you no longer applies. Legal power over former conspirators now rests in your hands. Choosing whether to press charges remains your decision. Determining how much cooperation with prosecution happens stays within your control. Deciding whether civil suits get filed on top of criminal cases belongs to you. Seeking damages becomes possible. Pursuing restitution remains available. Power sits completely with you. Choice remains entirely yours. Control belongs totally to you now and forever. Your life expands in ways that seemed impossible from previous vantage points. Inheritance provides foundation. Spiritual gifts provide direction. Divine protection provides confidence. Together this creates a life fulfilling every prophetic word spoken over you. Living where you want to live becomes possible. That place you dreamed about. That location that always called to your soul. That environment where alignment feels strongest. Resources to relocate exist now if desired. Freedom to choose setting based on what serves purpose rather than what budget allows becomes reality. Geography transforms from limitation into choice. Investment in your gifts becomes possible. Training that develops abilities further. Teachers who guide growth. Tools and resources supporting your work. Space designed specifically for your practice. Whatever your gifts need to flourish, provision exists. Money no longer creates obstacles. Resources no longer form barriers. Creating something lasting becomes your path forward. Perhaps writing helps thousands recognize spiritual warfare when it targets them. Perhaps teaching trains others in spiritual protection. Perhaps building community for survivors of dark family dynamics. Perhaps establishing support for people escaping cultic bloodlines. Whatever form manifestation takes, your work will outlive you. Your impact will ripple through generations. Your contribution will change lives you never meet directly. Joy that was stolen from you returns in fullness. Genuine peace arising not from ignorance but from knowing true safety. Authentic happiness that is not fragile because real foundation supports it. Deep contentment, existing because freedom to be fully yourself finally arrived. The person reaching out operates from desperation rather than conscience. Terror of incoming consequences drives their contact, but that changes nothing about the gift their confession brings to your life. Complete picture emerges, confusion dissolves, suspicions transform into confirmed knowledge. Permission to trust yourself completely gets delivered through proof that your intuition reads situations with deadly accuracy. And perhaps most importantly, confession gives you the gift of knowing who to permanently remove from your life without question or guilt. No more wondering if you are being too harsh by cutting people off. No more guilt about distancing from family members. No more pressure to attend gatherings with people who smile while harboring murder in their hearts. Absolute moral authority to eliminate toxic people from your existence without explanation or apology belongs to you now. Remember where this began. The universe whispering your name, forces circling your life like guardian sentinels. Revelation hurtling toward you at supernatural speed. Somebody about to break ranks and spill everything. That was not prediction. That was description of reality already unfolding. The web of conspiracy stretched across darkness is now visible in blinding light, every thread exposed, every connection documented, every hidden agenda standing naked before truth. What they planned in shadows gets judged in daylight. What they whispered in secret gets proclaimed from rooftops. What they intended for your destruction becomes the instrument of their own downfall. Walk forward in absolute certainty of your position. Walk forward in complete confidence of your protection. Walk forward in total assurance of your provision. The confession is coming. The police involvement is coming. The inheritance is manifesting. The victory already exists in spiritual realm, awaiting physical manifestation. Attempts to stop your greatness only succeeded in revealing it. Attempts to steal your blessing only succeeded in multiplying it. Attempts to end your story only succeeded in beginning your greatest chapter. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your season of complete and total victory. Everything hidden gets revealed. Everything stolen gets restored. Everything blocked gets released. Nothing can stop what has been set in motion by forces beyond human comprehension. Forces that chose you. Forces that protected you. Forces that now deliver everything that was always meant to be yours. The dreams that visited you during the darkest nights were not random firings of an exhausted mind. Those visions carried intelligence from realms your conscious awareness cannot normally access. When you woke in cold sweat with images of danger you could not name, when sleep brought warnings wrapped in symbolic language, when rest was interrupted by messages your spirit needed to receive, all of that was communication. Divine downloads arriving through the only channel available when your waking mind stayed too busy to listen. Some nights you saw faces of people you later learned were central to the conspiracy. Some nights you witnessed scenes that made no sense until confession filled in missing context. Some nights you received specific instructions about what to avoid and where not to go. Your dream life became a war room where heavenly strategists briefed you on enemy movements. Every morning you woke still breathing was a victory won in dimensions you cannot see but absolutely exist. The loneliness you experienced was strategic isolation orchestrated by heaven itself. When friends disappeared without explanation, when relationships dissolved despite your best efforts, when social circles contracted until you stood nearly alone, that was not rejection, that was protection. Wearing uncomfortable clothing, people were removed from your proximity because their presence would have created vulnerability. Access points were closed, potential informants were relocated, witnesses who might have been manipulated were guided elsewhere. The universe was clearing the battlefield, creating space where only you and your divine protection remained, where no weak link existed for enemies to exploit, where no divided loyalty could compromise your safety. The ache of isolation served purpose beyond your understanding at the time. But now clarity arrives. Every removed relationship was a door closed against those who would have used connection against you. Physical symptoms manifested that doctors could not explain. Sudden exhaustion that descended without warning. Headaches that arrived when you considered accepting certain invitations. Nausea that appeared around specific people. Your body became an instrument of divine communication. Flesh responding to spiritual reality. Cells rebelling against proximity to danger. When medicine found nothing wrong, when tests returned normal despite symptoms persisting, that was your physical form operating as alarm system, biological intelligence, perceiving threats invisible to conscious awareness, every unexplained symptom that kept you home when you planned to go out, every sudden illness that prevented travel, every mysterious affliction that disrupted schedules, all of it served the single purpose of keeping breath in your lungs and blood in your veins. Your body knew what your mind had not yet discovered, and your body fought to keep you alive. The financial struggles preceding this revelation served purpose as well. When money dried up inexplicably, when opportunities evaporated despite qualifications, when provision seemed blocked at every turn, that was not punishment or abandonment, that was positioning. Keeping you hungry enough to remain alert, preventing comfort that breeds complacency, ensuring your spiritual senses stayed sharp because survival demanded attention. Wealth would have dulled instincts that needed razor edges. Abundance would have created routines that enemies could predict and exploit. The scarcity was temporary containment, a holding pattern while pieces moved into position, while conspirators made mistakes that would seal their fate, while evidence accumulated that would guarantee justice. Every bill you struggled to pay was building testimony to the magnitude of what gets restored. Every lack you endured was amplifying the abundance now manifesting. Angels walked among you in human form during this season, strangers who appeared at crucial moments with exactly the right words, people who intervened in situations without understanding why they felt compelled to act, conversations with unknown individuals that shifted your trajectory away from danger, that homeless person who blocked your path, causing delay that meant missing an encounter that was set up against you, that chatty cashier whose extended conversation kept you in the store until threat outside had passed, that wrong number caller whose interruption prevented you from making a call that would have revealed your location to watchers. Divine agents operate in disguise. Heaven deploys protection through vessels that never know their assignment. You have been surrounded by supernatural intervention wearing ordinary faces. Every inconvenience that frustrated you, every delay that annoyed you, every interruption that irritated you, examine them now through new eyes and recognize rescue operations you misidentified as obstacles. The ancestors who designated you as heir saw further than anyone realized. Their decision was not merely financial planning. Spiritual sight operated in their choices. Recognition of who you truly are guided their hands as they signed documents bearing your name. They perceived the light you carry, They understood the assignment written in your soul before birth. They knew resources would be required for what you came here to accomplish, and they ensured provision would be waiting when timing aligned. Their love reaches across the veil between worlds. Their protection joins the heavenly forces guarding your life. Their investment in your future demonstrates faith in who you would become. When you receive this inheritance, you receive more than money and property. You receive the crystallized intention of ancestors who believed in your destiny before you knew you had one. Honor their vision by using these resources for purposes that would make them proud. Discernment now operates in your life at levels previously unimaginable. Reading people happens instantaneously. Energy signatures register before words are spoken. Intentions become visible regardless of masks worn. Lies sound different than truth in ways you cannot explain, but absolutely recognize. This ability will never leave you. This gift remains permanent equipment for navigating a world where not everyone wishes you well. Future relationships benefit from this enhanced perception. Business dealings carry protection through your ability to sense deception. New connections get evaluated through filters that catch what previously slipped through. No one approaches your life anymore without your spirit conducting assessment. No one enters your inner circle without passing inspection by senses sharpened through warfare. The people who tried to destroy you accidentally upgraded your defense systems beyond anything they could have anticipated. Forgiveness remains your choice and operates on your timeline. No spiritual requirement demands you release those who conspired to murder you. No divine law mandates reconciliation with people who valued your death over your life. Healing happens whether forgiveness arrives or not. Wholeness manifests independent of pardoning those who wounded you. If forgiveness comes eventually, let it come for your freedom rather than their comfort. If forgiveness never comes, your destiny unfolds regardless. The pressure to forgive quickly comes from those who benefit from your silence. The rush toward reconciliation serves agendas that have nothing to do with your well-being. Take whatever time you need. Process whatever emotions arise. Rage has its season. Grief has its place. Betrayal of this magnitude requires acknowledgement before anything resembling release becomes possible. Your journey toward peace follows paths unique to your experience and operates on schedules only your spirit can determine. New alliances await that replace what was removed, people who recognize and honor your light rather than fearing it. Connections with others who survived similar darkness and emerged transformed. Relationships built on truth rather than obligation. Family you choose rather than family assigned by blood. These people are already being positioned, already being prepared for intersection with your path, already receiving promptings that will guide them toward you when timing aligns. The isolation ends but selectivity remains. The loneliness dissolves but boundaries stay firm. What enters your life now must pass through gates guarded by hard-won wisdom. What accesses your energy now must prove worthy of proximity. The new community forming around you carries different quality than anything previously experienced. Authentic connection rather than performed loyalty, genuine support rather than hidden agenda, real love rather than strategic positioning. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something, but talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today. Join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. The testimony forming in your life will reach people you cannot currently imagine. Stories of survival spread through networks invisible to those who birthed them. Someone right now struggles under attack from their own bloodline and has no language for what they experience. Someone right now questions their sanity because intuition screams warnings that logic cannot justify. Someone right now contemplates surrender because the battle seems too large to win alone. Your story reaches them. Your victory becomes their permission to believe survival is possible. Your emergence from darkness lights pathways for others trapped where you once stood. This is part of why you were preserved. This is part of why protection surrounded you so completely. Purposes larger than personal comfort depend on your survival. Destinies connected to yours required your presence in the world. Heaven invested heavily in keeping you here because what you carry impacts lives far beyond your own. Financial wisdom arrives alongside financial resources, understanding how to steward substantial wealth when you have spent seasons in scarcity. Knowledge of investment and growth and protection of assets now flows to you. People appear who carry expertise in building generational wealth from sudden inheritance. Guidance emerges through books and conversations and intuitive knowing. The same forces that protected your life now protect your provision. The same intelligence that warned of physical danger now warns against financial foolishness. Trust the instincts that saved your life to guide decisions about resources now entering your hands. What feels wrong probably is wrong regardless of how experts frame opportunity. What feels aligned probably serves purposes beyond immediate understanding. Your internal navigation system works for finances just as it worked for survival. Follow the same quiet voice that kept you from traps into the abundance now unfolding. Authority over your bloodline now rests with you, whether you sought it or not. Generational patterns break through your survival. Curses that operated for decades lose power through your deliverance. What was done in darkness for generations ends because light entered through your existence. Children in your lineage who have not yet been born benefit from the cycle you interrupted. Futures shift because you stood when others would have fallen. Darkness that assumed permanent residence in your family tree encounters eviction notice through your victory. Those who practiced shadow work did not anticipate creating a curse breaker through their conspiracy. Those who invoked entities did not expect their intended victim to become portal for liberation. Their attack became the catalyst for freedom they never intended to release. Your survival sends shockwaves backward and forward through time. Ancestors receive healing. Descendants receive protection, all because you remained standing when everything conspired to bring you down. The world you step into now differs fundamentally from the world you inhabited before this revelation. Colors appear more vivid because eyes that witness darkness appreciate light differently. Music sounds more beautiful because ears that heard plotting now receive melodies with gratitude. Food tastes richer because mouths that nearly lost ability to taste anything savor every flavor. Ordinary moments carry extraordinary weight when the alternative of having no moments at all was so narrowly avoided. This heightened appreciation remains. This enhanced gratitude persists. Every breath reminds you of breaths that enemies tried to steal. Every heartbeat recalls beats that conspirators attempted to stop. Living becomes worship. Existing becomes victory. Simply moving through another day becomes testimony to protection that cannot be defeated. The season ahead holds expansion beyond current imagination. What manifests in the immediate term represents beginning rather than culmination. Doors open that lead to rooms you did not know existed. Opportunities arise that exceed anything appearing on previous horizons. Connections form that accelerate purposes decades ahead of schedule. The inheritance provides foundation, but destiny provides direction. Resources fuel movement, but assignment determines destination. All that you survived prepares you for all that approaches. Every skill developed in darkness serves purposes in light. Every strength forged in warfare deploys in building. Every lesson learned in survival applies to thriving. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was pointless. Nothing was merely suffering without purpose. Everything worked together. Everything contributed to who you now stand as. Everything prepared you for exactly this moment, and everything unfolding from this moment forward into futures more magnificent than present imagination can contain. Chosen one, you survived the unsurvivable. You escaped the inescapable. You conquered the unconquerable, and now you walk in fullness of power that comes only through divine protection, spiritual warfare victory, and complete vindication of everything you knew in your spirit to be true. The light they tried to extinguish now blazes brighter than ever before. The inheritance they tried to steal now multiplies in your hands. The life they tried to take now expands beyond anything they could have imagined. And they watch from their destruction while you rise into everything heaven always intended for you to become.